All right, everybody. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. If you're listening to us for the first time, thanks so much. If you're listening to us on Apple, Amazon, or any of one of the other Google, any one of the other podcasts, appreciate that. Please like, subscribe, and share this podcast in general. It's Fire Breathing Rob on all the platforms in general. We have a man that, I've been following this guy since 2018. And he's ran for office. He should have won that congressional race. Trump came down and did some hanky panky when he ran against Carol Miller in 2018. He did run for president a little bit. He did run and also help out a lot of teachers in West Virginia, really being and pushing out the word for that teacher strike, if everybody remembers that. And I'm sure if you're in the progressive movement, you definitely know this dude. He is one in a million, a legit guy. He tells the truth, tells it like it is. He's no BS. And this is Richard Ojeda. First of all, thanks so much for coming on again. You are truly amazing. Everybody loves when you come on, and they love that you tell it like it is, and there's no bullshit in plain English. So, Mr. Ojeda, thanks so much.
Thank you, man. I always enjoy it, man. We always have really good conversations, man.
Right. So I want to talk about, because we haven't really talked about in the past, I believe you on twice, No Dem Left Behind. I want you to talk about it, why you started it and why it's really important, because I believe truly it is.
Well, I never started No Dem Left Behind. There's another person that started it. He reached out to me in the last election because they were looking for a spokesman. And to be honest with you, when I heard about their mission, I fell in love with it. It's going into red rural districts and picking a fight. If the problem that we have in this country is that everybody has no problem donating to Democrats in blue states, in blue areas that are solid, that are safe, but nobody wants to risk any money in the red rural districts. Well, guess what? That's the Republicans, that's their playground. And if we are not willing to go into the red rural districts and find phenomenal candidates, and they exist, by the way, and support them to flip red seats blue, then best case scenario, we stay at 50-50 with Kamala Harris being the tie-breaking vote. And we can't do that. I want to take the daggone filibuster out of Joe Manchin's hands. I want to take Joe Manchin's power away from him. And the way for us to do that is to flip red seats blue. The most important fight that we have in the United States of America today is going into these red areas and flipping them blue. You're looking at places like Texas that are pushing horrific laws that do nothing but try to control women. Right now, there's a lot of women in Texas that are absolutely livid about this. There's a lot of people in Texas that are not going to forget about the fact that their leadership in that state abandoned them when they were freezing to death, to include Ted Cruz running off to Cancun. There is a lot of issues that Texas has faced. There's a lot of issues now in Florida. Governor DeSantis right now is like 14 points down in the polls to the person that is running against him on the Democratic ticket by the name of Crist. The reason why is because people in Texas are now starting to realize that, Governor DeSantis is not protecting them, is doing everything in his power to try to impress Donald Trump. And if that means putting people at risk and watching people die, then so be it. So people are getting angered. And right now is a perfect opportunity for us to go into the red rural districts and invest in finding decent candidates and then supporting them to be able to flip red seats blue. Because if we do that, we can turn this around.
And I believe this is why Trump won. There's a lot of people that believed in a lot of his rhetoric. We'll even go back farther. There are the racists, the anti-Semitic, the misogynists that voted for Trump. But there's also the left behind. Those people that have lost their jobs, that they get drummed up by this stuff. A lot of them aren't racist or anti-Semitic or misogynist. They're just so sick of living in. And I remember you did that film with Michael Moore, and he had you on there, and you showed him around Logan County and stuff, and the travesty, and you said it looked worse than parts of Iraq that you were there. I remember that, a clip from the movie, vividly. It's really sad that the Democratic Party in some ways, and I'm a Democrat and I voted for Joe Biden, but a lot of these Democrats in the House, in the Senate, for the most part, they don't see those forgotten men and women that Trump has talked about. And I'm no Trump guy, and I think you believe this too, because you're from this area too. Democrats need to, like you said, go in there, find a good, exciting candidate, a progressive candidate that's going to do something, because people don't really care red or blue. People care about what you've done for me lately. Do I have health care? Do I have a minimum wage job or a higher paying wage job? Not that I'm making $7.25 an hour. People care about child care, all the stuff that's in that $3.5 trillion bill. And it could have even been bigger, but, we have Democrats, like you said, Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, that won't let it get bigger. But that's my problem with a lot of these Democratic leaders, is that they're living in the past. People don't want the moderate stuff. People want progressive change. They want things. It's, what have you done for me lately? Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. And what you're talking about, Joe Manchin, not Joe Manchin, but Donald Trump. Donald Trump preyed on that.
I agree.
Donald Trump come down here and told these people that have lost their jobs that he was going to make America great again, and he was going to save the coal industry, and the people in Ohio that work in the auto industry were going to be working their asses off soon. And that's what he did. And he preyed on these people. And a lot of these people, they were desperate. When you're a coal miner and you realize that your job doesn't even require a high school diploma, it doesn't mean that you're stupid. It means that the job is a manual labor job. And if you're healthy and strong, they want you. They don't care what your, degree that you have is. They don't even care if you have a high school diploma. But the thing about it is those people can go in the mines and they can make six figures a year. They can move up in the coal industry in terms of the jobs, become mine bosses, and do very well for their families. And they know that there's no other occupation in this state and probably in this country where a person with that little of education can go and walk away with a six-figure salary. So they are going to fight for those jobs because they know that when those jobs are gone, they're not going to have anything nowhere near that. So when somebody comes down here and preys on them and says, I'm going to make America great again, and you're going to be working like you've never seen, to them, that's music to their ears. And the bad part about it is that they have short-term memories, because that's what every single politician does. We have a guy who currently is a state senator. He calls himself the coal man, he's the coal delegate, and now he's the coal senator. And you know what? He's never mined the first piece of coal. He's never been a coal miner, but he comes down here when it's election time and he tells everybody, I fight for coal. I eat it for breakfast. And these people, they listen to his rhetoric where he says, I'm going to bring it all back. And they reelect him, and he wins over and over and over again. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't get anything done. He's the dumbass that makes the horrible, embarrassing speeches on the floor where he hands out sunscreen to everybody because it's wintertime and it snowed last week. That's this guy. But the thing is these people they will vote for the people that lie to them because that's what they want to hear, versus the person that comes in and says, look, here's the deal. It's over. If you're a coal miner and you work in metallurgical coal, that coal makes steel. But any other source of coal that we have in the state, that stuff is going away because natural gas is cheaper and it does the same thing. And those people that are working in those industries, they don't want to hear that. So they immediately turn that candidate off. And that candidate is the one that says, look, coal's a dying resource. But what I want to do is I want to go to Washington, D.C., and I want to bring these clean energy jobs that, oh, by the way, are safer and they pay more than your coal job. And we don't even have enough people to work these clean energy jobs. So I can bring that capability here. You can switch over. You're no longer going to be breathing black lung, risking your life every day, going in a mine where you're spending 12 hours a day in 36 inches of moving space, and that's what it is. And they shut that guy out, which is why we never have anything to come here to compete against the coal.
But my thing is, what happened to West Virginia? Because, they've had Democratic senators. This used to be a presidential state for Democrats before Al Gore. I think he was the first person that actually lost West Virginia to a Republican as far as George W. Bush. But, you have Robert Byrd as the senator. Rockefeller was the senator for so many years. I do think of people as far as Earl Ray Trumbull was in there for as far as governor for so many years. But it seems like this is such a conservative state now. What happened?
Well, first off, most of those people they just didn't get it done. Earl Ray Tomlin was a governor. When Earl Ray Tomlin was a governor, we got nothing done. He was the worst, laziest governor that we've ever had. But you know what, though? When he was a state senator, he was actually a solid legislator and got things done. I tell people all the time, the Democrats controlled West Virginia for 88 years. And do you know why they lost it? Because they sucked. Because at the end, it wasn't about Democratic values and helping the poor and supporting the unions. It was about these people that claimed to be Democrats because you could only win if you ran as a Democrat. And really, they didn't care about nothing but themselves. Nick Rahall was a member of Congress for 38 years, and Nick Rahall showed up in my hometown every 2 years and wrote 3 checks to the 3 biggest crooks who controlled this county with an iron fist. And then he disappeared, and we never saw him again until it was the next election. And that's exactly how it was. And you know what? That's the reason why the Democrats lost, because the Republicans can say, hey, look at this picture. This is Nick Rahall. You guys remember him? What did he do for you? Oh, nothing. So support us. And guess what? The people in West Virginia started looking, and they went, you know what? All right. Nick Rahall didn't do nothing for us. So you know what? Let's try this guy who's now saying something different, who's now speaking truthful. And that's what happened. And, the Republicans took power in 2014. And in the last literally 7 years, they've done more damage than the Democrats did in 88 years. And they have done a lot of damage. We're a right to work state. Our population is shrinking every year. We're the only state. We are now going down to 2 members of Congress because of the lack of, we just got people that are leaving. I'm leaving. And I'm not just leaving. I'm not just taking my wife. My kids are going. And, my kids are adults. They're all moving down there. My daughter's already living down in North Carolina right now. My parents are coming. My mother-in-law, my sister-in-law are all coming. My sisters and their husbands are moving down there and building on the property. We're tired of giving our tax dollars to a state that absolutely is blatantly corrupt. I'm done with it.
Well, not only that, the water sucks. There's no jobs.
Everywhere you go, we're in a global pandemic. I'm stuck in the middle of a place where nobody wants to wear masks. I go to the store. I'm one of the only people that wear a mask these days. I go to the gym. I'm the only person that wears a mask at the gym. It's at the point where nobody wants to do the right thing. And now we're on fire. Now our kids around here are showing up in the emergency room with COVID. And it's now that people are starting to talk about it. Maybe we need to do mask mandates. Oh, I'm sorry. It took about 40 some children. I think right now the number is like 48 children in the last week that come down with COVID for people to go, oh, hey, maybe we should, wear masks, social distance, maybe talk about shutting the grade schools down because those kids aren't vaccinated. It's just a shame that these people refuse to research anything, and they listen to anything. They keep their channels on Fox News, OAN, and Newsmax, and they are completely fed garbage. And sadly, they're not smart enough to not see the difference.
My question is for you, is that aren't there any good Democratic candidates in West Virginia that will do the reverse psychology of what you just said?
If they are, they're not stepping up. What do you want? You want Paula Jean? Paula Jean is garbage. Let me tell you something. The only reason why Paula Jean beat me was because Shelley Moore Capito ended up working a deal with the United Mine Workers of America and the AFL-CIO, and all those unions got together and basically supported. They didn't support me. They ended up supporting Capito. Capito wanted Paula Jean Swearengin.
But there was a third party candidate, wasn't there too, that was kind of getting paid off in there?
Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, that guy was brought on to take votes from me. And that's exactly what he did. Look, I lost. I'm not going to sit here and cry about, spilled milk. But make no mistake about it, that Richie Robb guy was put in there specifically to take votes away from me. They promised Shelley Moore Capito Paula Jean because they knew that Paula Jean would be easy to beat, and she destroyed her. Capito didn't want me because I'm the last person that you want, because I will hound you to the ends of the friggin' earth. I will debate you in Wendy's parking lot, and they won't. That's why Carol Miller avoided me. She wouldn't, they knew better. Because let me tell you something, I might come off like I'm crazy, but I research, I read, I do as much as I can to learn as much as I can so that when I go head to head with you, I got the answers to the questions. And they don't want to fight nobody like that because they know it's going to embarrass them.
Well, to go back to that Carol Miller race, it's very funny that Donald Trump came to West Virginia for a small little house race in West Virginia, but yeah, that's
exactly.
me.
And what he did, a lot of people don't realize what really, happened. Besides the fact that, in West Virginia, the number one issue of polling was the caravan. Donald Trump's rhetoric about the caravan and immigrants coming to America, these racist assholes in my state, which by the way is 98.6% white, the number one thing polled was the caravan. Are you scared they're going to come? And here's why. Think about that. You don't even have to have an education to work in the coal industry. And you know what? Maybe they should be scared that people from Guatemala would walk up here and outwork them. It is what it is.
Right.
But that was done. I had participated for over 2 years where I sat in meetings with FBI agents about the state road theft in West Virginia. And let me tell you, I've seen photographs. I could sit and give you the name of the FBI agent himself, Lafferty, by the way. This was something that for 2 years they were investigating these state road thefts. And I'm talking about blatantly, obviously. You can go to one of the state road boss's house, his fence around his property, state road equipment, state road materials, his barn. They got friggin' state road stamped on the friggin' on the pieces of the wood. It's all stuff. They took stuff off of state road equipment and buried it underground and waited for it to be written off as we don't know where it's at. And then they would unbury it and they would basically give it to a guy in Logan County who would then use it to put in people's sewer systems and stuff like that. And they would all split the money. And look, how do I know this? How do I know this? Because I was in the damn topic of conversation with these people. You see? And then all of a sudden, when Donald Trump come down here, guess who else had something done for them from the state road? Carol Miller's road to her bison farm was paved by the state road. That's a private road. You see?
No. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when Donald Trump come down here and called me a stone cold crazy wacko, went down there to daggone Huntington, where he said my name is Ojeda when he was talking about the caravan. Guess what? That investigation was turned off. And the FBI agent actually said that it had to be over the head of the governor because a governor does not have the power to turn off a FBI investigation. It has to be above his head. And it happened right when Donald Trump come down here to West Virginia and Huntington and campaigned against me. So, if the people would have found out that maybe her road was paved by the state road when our roads suck, maybe that would have been something that they could have held against her. But you know what? They crushed that so it never come out.
It was funny too, even when you were running for president back in 2019, you were getting no coverage. They put you on one time, I think, with MSNBC with Willie Geist or something for about 3 or 4 minutes. They threw your ass off.
Yeah, they don't want that. They don't want that. What I learned when I ran for president was that this country does not want somebody like me. This country wants somebody that's a Democrat, but they want somebody that's going to do exactly what they say. They don't want nobody who's going to look big pharma in the face and punch them. They don't want nobody that's going to look these military industrial complex in the face and tell them Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Brown and Root, Halliburton, Boeing, and the rest of them to daggone, it's time that they get exposed for what they really are. They don't want somebody like me. They want somebody, number one, that is already completely established. And when I say established, he's already pretty much, he or she's already been in the democratic system for a long time and knows how to play the game. And that's it. Knows how to do exactly what they're told. They want somebody like that. They want somebody that already has a nest egg, so that they don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I didn't have that. But what I was saying was the right things. What I was saying was, let's put body cameras on lobbyists so that we can stop, we would be able to watch our elected officials sell us down the road. But they don't want that, because they know that if they had to have body cameras in their office and in the damn ceilings and everybody got to hear every conversation that they had, well, then that would pretty much turn the dark money off now, wouldn't it? That's right. And if you think for one second that Joe Manchin ain't into the dark money, then you're crazy with the heat.
Yeah, we'll talk about Joe Manchin in a minute, but just to go off Carol Miller again, I was told, because I did some research before the interview, that her son may run for governor. Have you heard that?
Her son is absolute garbage. He's the one that does all these commercials where he's an idiot. I mean, it's really just, the commercials are idiotic. Yeah. I'm not going to say he's an idiot. The commercials are idiotic. Okay. He does it for comedic, but here's the thing. I mean, she got her family's dealerships. They have 5 car dealerships. Every one of her dealerships got a PPP loan between $350,000 and $1 million each. I mean, they're not struggling. The car industry is not struggling. People are still buying cars. But once again, this is just another way for them to fleece this country. And that's how it is. That's the United States of America. We allow the people in Congress to get away with breaking the laws, and nobody wants to hold anybody accountable. And we're about to watch it happen again. I mean, we know that Marjorie Trader Greene, has hid things on her campaign finance. Nobody's going to do anything about that. We know that they've now threatened telecom companies. Nobody's going to do anything about that. We know that Loeffler and Purdue participated in insider trading. Nobody's doing anything about that. I mean, all we hear about is the crimes that these people have done. And apparently, if you're a member of Congress, it doesn't matter. You're going to get away with it. I mean, we've got to stop allowing these people to be in their 90s and still serving. I mean, it's the way that it is. I mean, when I was a state senator in West Virginia, we had a delegate that I think he was over 100 years old. I'm not lying to you. And I can remember one day when I was fighting my medical cannabis bill, I went over and because my bill had passed and we sent it over to the House. So I ran over to the House side because I wanted to stand in the doorway and look right at the Speaker of the House, because he and I didn't like each other, and I wanted to see his face the entire time. And I looked to my left, and here's this guy. And I'll be honest with you, I'm like, this guy's dead. I look over at the door guy and I say, hey man, I wave. I said, you need to come over here, because I'm looking at this guy, man, and I'm telling you, he looked dead. He comes over and I looked down at the guy, and it was like one of his eyes started spinning around, and then he like come out of it. And but I mean, this guy, I mean, he shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have been there. And he passed away a couple months later. But I mean, at the end of the day, man, I mean, this is a guy that people basically say, okay, it's like you keep him in power because that's a vote for you. We don't care that the guy's 150 years old. And he's drooling on himself. We want to make sure he stays elected because he's a guaranteed yay or nay whenever we want it. And that's how the Republicans use it. And I don't give a shit if I piss anybody off about that. I don't care. You shouldn't be 3 digits and serving in any capacity.
Very true. Very true. I mean, we just look back to information right now. Robert Byrd died in the Senate. John McCain died in the Senate. I mean, those are just 2 guys as far as recent. I'm not trying to make fun of them. I'm just telling truthful facts.
It's the truth. I mean, these people are established, and a lot of them have the hooks in them for many, many decades. Yeah. I mean, and the bad part about it is it's the way that they are. Joe Manchin is garbage. He's trash. Joe Manchin's daughter is trash. Joe Manchin's wife is trash. all of them participated in that EpiPen garbage. All of them did. And right now, Joe Manchin is down here, with the United Mine Workers of America, and they're all giving this big, this event they do every year. Now they're all walking to Blair Mountain for the 100th anniversary. And, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, Joe Manchin comes here and takes photographs hugging all the United Mine Workers of America. And, it's all garbage. Joe Manchin don't care about these people. Joe Manchin is a two-faced liar. He's a crook. Joe Manchin's a multimillionaire, and the highest salary he's ever had is $176,000 a year. But yet he's a multimillionaire. You want to know how come Joe Manchin doesn't want transparency and dark money? Because he knows it's going to expose him for all the money that he takes. And if you read the article about his daughter, that horrible, rotten soul, and you realize what she did to corner the market on the EpiPen and then jack the price up so that people had to do it. And then her mother went and lobbied like 13 states and made it to where they had to carry those EpiPens all throughout the schools. This was all, yes, they're all involved in it. They're all dirty.
Well, the wife just got a job in the Biden administration.
Absolutely.
No one talks about that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. She got a job because they were hoping that would convince Joe Manchin to do the right things. That was a carrot. That was the carrot and the stick. We're going to hire his wife, fire her, get rid of her. She's trash. Read the article. She lobbied so that her daughter would make more. Her daughter made like 13 or 17 million dollars on that. They're just dirty people. Well, and oh, by the way, they destroyed a college's accreditation, which left a lot of students who spent a lot of money with nothing. They lost. When you lose your accreditation, your college credit hours do not go anywhere. They're garbage. And they did that because Joe Manchin pressured them to give her a master's degree that she did not earn.
Wow.
Yeah. Fact.
I didn't hear that. Wow.
That's a fact. I remember because I actually had a guy that was working for me, and his son was in his junior year. They lost everything.
Jeez. God.
Yeah.
That's
Joe
terrible.
Manchin and his family are all garbage.
Well, let's keep on about Joe Manchin. Again, this is Richard Ojeda here. I'm Fire Breathing Rob. So what is the end game for Joe Manchin? I mean, the guy's 74 years old. Yeah. I mean, they said that he might run for Senate again. Is he going to run for governor again or what?
Joe Manchin was our governor. Okay. Yeah. Joe Manchin was our governor. And then Robert Byrd died. So Joe Manchin had just won his second term, but he was in like his first month when Robert Byrd died. So Joe Manchin appointed himself as the new senator to replace Robert Byrd. So he basically handed his seat over to Earl Ray Tomlin, and Earl Ray Tomlin finished out that term and then ran again and then won for his second term. So Joe Manchin technically never did his second term. So Joe Manchin's going to come back here in 2024 and he's going to run for governor. And that's why he's doing what he is doing, because he knows that these friggin' people in Southern West Virginia and in West Virginia in general all are crazy with the daggone heat, and they all daggone love Donald Trump. So Joe Manchin's going to come down here and go, look, I was the one that fought the Democrats. I was the one that worked with Donald Trump. You guys need to support me. And these dumbasses that are going that fall for that are going to vote for him, and he's going to win. And Joe Manchin don't care about these people. He ain't going to help these people. Joe Manchin is going to end up basically doing his 4 years as his second term of governor, and then he's going to retire, and he's going to enjoy his millions upon millions that he has squirreled away from screwing over the people in West Virginia and in this country.
That's 100% true. And then, we look at Joe Manchin again. If he ever ran for Senate again against, and I believe Jim Justice, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, is going to run for Senate. I'm not a Jim Justice guy. He's a beauty, but he's done very good on the vaccination rates, and he seems like he's somewhat getting his act together on that. I'm not saying
Jim Justice has done a good job in terms of the vaccine rollout, but Jim Justice is trash. But if he runs again, I mean, first and foremost, he's the picture of unhealth. Everywhere he goes, there has to be people that follow him, and they carry these big lounge chairs because he can't sit in anything else other than sitting on a block of steel that won't break. You know, he weighs like, I don't know, about seven gram, like he's like 4 tons, I think. You know, the guy sweats butter. He pees sugar water. He's trash. And look, I'm not throwing stones at people that are obese. I'm just throwing stones at that obese sack of shit.
This goes back to Joe Biden. I want to get your opinion on this because Joe Biden is supposed to be the deal maker, and I voted for Joe Biden. For everybody knows that that's listening anyway. But I voted for Joe Biden. He's supposed to be this deal maker in the Senate. Regardless of that, you know, he knows how Joe Manchin is. They try to hire the wife. We went through all that already. And the same thing with cinema and stuff like that. They voted against the minimum wage. They blamed it on the parliamentarian. They're trying to blow up. Yeah, they're trying to blow up the $3.5 trillion deal.
Their states have went full red, and they know that the only way they're going to keep that $174,000 a year is if they basically either switch to the Republican Party or they at least vote Republican and still stay as a Democrat.
Well, Richard, the thing is Kristen Sinema, and you can look this up. Anybody can look this up. She used to be part of the Green Party. Before she got into Congress. She was in the Progressive Caucus. Now all of a sudden she's with Joe Manchin. Maybe they're having sex with each other. I don't know what the hell they're doing. But
no, what it is that, you know,
it's a joke.
Sinema's that person that looks and says, "Oh, I got to do this to be able to succeed. I got to switch over and do this to be able to succeed." That's all it is. She will do whatever it takes to friggin' win. That's it. She's garbage.
Well, she's going to get her ass kicked too when she's up for re-election in 2024.
Will she? Will she?
Because the people in Arizona, there's a lot of polls that
it don't matter. It don't matter. Remember, she's going to do the exact same thing that Joe Manchin's going to do. Arizona's red. West Virginia's red.
But Biden won Arizona though.
Yep. Because Trump sucked ass. But at the end of the day, down ballot candidates won. They voted Republicans. I mean, that's just the way that it is. Even Ron Johnson said, you know, the down ballot candidates in Wisconsin won. Donald Trump lost because 51,000 people in Wisconsin voted for the Republicans, but chose not to vote for Donald Trump. That was it. Sinema knows Arizona's a red state. So for her to be able to succeed, she's either got to switch to the Republican or she's got to be that Democrat that sticks it to the Democrats because she believes in the Republican values. That's it. And you know what? The people are going to vote for her again. The Republicans will vote for her. Why? Because she's the thorn in the Democrats' side.
Yeah, but as far as that goes, you know, going back to the minimum wage, I know that with the 3.5 trillion, they're going to try to play some hanky-panky with that.
Ain't going to go nowhere.
You don't think so?
No, Joe Manchin ain't going. Joe Manchin's already going to sabotage it. Joe Manchin don't want people to have better. But the problem is he can screw over the poor people all that he wants, and he still comes down here and convinces these dumbasses to vote for him. He will take the money out of their friggin' bank account, and they'll still vote for him.
No, Bernie Sanders said this in the campaign in 2020, and he says he still might do this. Why doesn't Joe Biden go down there? And even if Bernie wants to go down there, God bless him, let him go down there too. And call out Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema to their face and say, you know, we look at LBJ, you know, FDR. These guys would have done that. They would have called these guys out and said, you're either with us or you're against us. Why did the Republicans always vote together on their tax bill or on all their other corruption? But the Democrats can't get anything good passed. That's why they're going to get walloped in 2022. And then 2024 could be another walloping if they don't get their act together even more.
Yeah, you're right. You know, we just have to hope that right now, I think that, you know, it's the death toll. I think it's the virus, watching people die, realizing that, you know, that these people aren't protecting them. I mean, I hate to say it, but, you know, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, some of these places, maybe that were solid red are now going to start leaning towards being purple and maybe even blue because of the death toll. And I hate to say that. But I mean, you know, the majority of people that are dying are not vaccinated because they refuse to get vaccinated because they're not smart enough to realize that that's going to save their life, you know. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you have to hope that people like DeSantis, you know, when these kids are dying, you got to hope that people are starting to wake up and say, you know what, they're not protecting these kids. But that's only going to help us flip governor seats from red to blue. It ain't going to help flip the Senate. It ain't going to help flip the House. You know, I mean, we've got to figure out what we can do, and we have to hope that, you know, some of this stuff that's going on sticks.
But my point is, what is the point of having Democrats like Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema? You might as well just have a Republican Senate if that's the case, because they're not going to get anything done regardless.
Yeah, but what you got to understand is that's exactly what everybody wants around here. The people around here want a Republican. The people in West Virginia don't realize that the Republicans don't care about them. They haven't been screwed hard enough to open their friggin' eyes. So around here, they're just, they would rather vote for a Republican or Joe Manchin, who will stand and say, I'm with the Republicans and I stick it to the Democrats. That's their choices. That's going to be their choices in the next race. And once again, like I said, Joe Manchin's not going to run for Senate. Joe Manchin is not going to run for Senate. He wants to come back to West Virginia and end his career here. That's what he wants to do.
Well, I think it's terrible because these people are just a waste of time. I mean, they might as well just change to Republicans, look, like you said.
Well,
it's
look,
a
like
joke.
I said, I'm leaving. I built my retirement home in West Virginia. I come back here after 24 years in the military, and I worked to help make my state better. And I did make my state better. And you know what? Instead of staying here, I'm done. I'm ready to go. No matter what, I realize that you can bust your ass in this state. You can elevate this state. You can help people. You can fight for the people that need fought for, and they will all turn their back on you within friggin' 6 months. Because around here, it's not what you've done. It's what have you done for me lately. I stood and fought for the teachers. Nobody fought as hard as I did for the teachers.
Right.
The teachers gave a grading scale. I got the only A+ rating for the teacher strike. Most of the legislators got Fs and Ds, and some got Cs. I got an A+. And the very next turnaround, I didn't even get the teachers' support. I didn't even get the endorsements of the AFT and the WVEA. They turned their backs on me. I absolutely supported the United Mine Workers of America. I've got over 200 years of combined UMWA experience in my family, and they turned their back on me. They stabbed me in the back for Capito. They crawled in bed with Capito. So, you know what? I'm done with these people. I'm tired of two-faced leaders. The AFL-CIO, the leader of the AFL-CIO, whenever he wanted something done, whenever he wanted somebody to push a bill, he would come to me and say, hey, Senator Ojeda, could you do this? And he knew, no problem. This is for unions. I'm that guy that says, if you want to come to my state and take our jobs, you should get your ass whipped in the process. I'm the guy that stood on the friggin' damn stage, literally 100 feet from the Frontier Communications building with their people standing on the porch. And I told them I wouldn't give a squirt of piss for none of you all. You know, I'm the one that fought for that. The AFL-CIO stabbed me in the back. And the guy that is a senator right now in West Virginia, who happens to also be a UMWA delegate that is in the AFL-CIO meeting, he's the one that stood up and told everybody in the room after I blew it out of the park. Stood and told everybody, do not get involved. Do not endorse Richard Ojeda. And I stood up for him numerous times.
My thing is in 2022, you agree that the Democrats are going to probably get walloped. Then if they don't, especially if they don't get this $3.5 trillion deal.
No, I don't think they're going to get walloped. I think even if we get the $1.9 trillion deal, you know, we're going to see roads, we're going to see bridges, we're going to see jobs. Joe Biden is doing a great job. You know, everybody wants to scream about, you know, the 13 losses in Afghanistan, but nobody says nothing about the 64 losses under Trump in Afghanistan. You know, it's all a double, you know, everybody's starting to see that the Republicans are just using this to their advantage. And in the end, they're getting egg on their face. I'm going to continue sitting here and say that the coronavirus is going to hurt the Republican Party because they continue to go down this path. I think the big lie is going to hurt the Republican Party. I think that we should be safe. I believe we're going to be fine in 2022 and 2024. I don't think that, these governors like DeSantis and Abbott are going to survive. I think they're going to be beaten in the next elections. I'm just looking on the brighter side, and maybe that's because I just don't want to get depressed. But I do believe that with the way that the Republicans are acting right now, I think that people are smarter. I think that every day more and more Republicans are waking up.
I think the Texas abortion law could also help Democrats.
I think the Texas abortion law is absolutely going to help Democrats. I think that the majority of women in Texas are absolutely done. I think that these voter restricting bills that are being pushed are going to hurt. Threatening to put people in jail for giving people water in Georgia. That's blatantly obvious. And these Republicans that push that have pissed off hopefully every single person of color to do whatever they have to do to vote them out.
So you were in Iraq and Afghanistan. Yeah, I mean, you served for quite a while, won many medals. You're an American hero as far as that goes. With that said, what was your opinion on Biden? As far as Afghanistan, I think he did a tremendous job.
Look, first and foremost, the Band-Aid needed to be ripped off.
Agreed.
We could have sit here for another 5 years, lost another $1 trillion, 2,000 soldiers, and sent another million home, missing arms, legs, and suffering with PTSD. Donald Trump was the one who made this agreement. And oh, by the way, he got nothing out of this agreement. He freed the co-founder of the Taliban. He freed 5,000 Taliban fighters, 400 of which were absolute killers. So he let them loose and go to the battlefield. He set a date that was really unrealistic, and he did it to screw over Joe Biden, as far as I'm concerned. Joe Biden was able to get an extension to August 31st and was able to get 123,000 Americans. And when you say Americans, it was very few Americans. It was mostly interpreters and their families, refugees, 123,000. That alone, that operation alone will be in the history books forever. Joe Biden has done the right thing. We needed to end this forever war, and he did it. So I support him wholeheartedly. Am I saddened that we lost 13 people? Of course I am. And you know what? That's nobody's fault. You had no clue. We had no clue. That wasn't the Taliban. That was ISIS-K that did that, and we went back and we smacked them real good too, so that's it.
I agree. I think Biden did a great job. Audience question here. Do you believe Trump will run again? If not, what Republicans do you see in 2024?
Well, I could see some of these people that are just complete garbage. I mean, I could see Rubio. I could see Cruz. I hope not, because they're completely garbage. I think that Donald Trump is going to be in handcuffs. And the reason why I feel that is because I've listened to a few people. Glenn Kirshner is one of them, who is a brilliant legal mind. He believes that we're going to see Donald Trump before the end of this year, probably in handcuffs. There's a person that runs a show on YouTube called Legal AF, and he also confirmed that he believes that is to be true as well. I don't think that Donald Trump is going to be able to run because of legal issues. And then, Donald Trump is not a healthy person either. We're talking 3 years away from now. Donald Trump is finding himself in court often. He's going to be nickeled and dimed. I think that it's only a matter of time before Melania cuts ties and realizes that she better get as much as she can from him before it's all gone. I think that we're going to see his children eventually roll on him. And I think that's where it is. I don't think Donald Trump is going to run. But you know what, though? If he does, I think that's a great thing, because the truth is a lot of people have woke up. A lot of these people that are coming out of COVID right now are waking up and realizing that they lied to them. People are waking up every single day. Donald Trump got beat by like 7 million votes. He'll get beat by 27 million votes next. And let him continue with these, I was robbed, let him continue. Because the truth is that his tears make me happy.
I agree with that. But there's a lot of questions right now about Biden running for re-election. He'd be around 81, 82. I agree. He's done a good job. Like I said, I'm voting for him. I'm not, doubting his
Hey, he,
mental capability. But what do you think about him running for a second term? Would you see
well,
Kamala
I mean,
Harris?
look,
Go
look,
ahead.
look. At the end of the day, Joe Biden is still able to run, ride bikes, and you know what? He is sharp as a daggone tack. So as long as he has that in 2024, I'd support him again. I mean, I think he's doing great things. I mean, the Republicans are going to try to nitpick and blame anything and everything. But at the end of the day, he's ended a forever war. He built the infrastructure that has vaccinated 53% of our country, and more people are getting vaccinated every day. They've broken 40 records concerning the economy. So, I mean, the guy, as far as I'm concerned, is doing nothing but hitting it out of the park every single day. So as long as we keep winning like that, I mean, everybody said we wanted to vote for Donald Trump because he told everybody we're going to win so much, you're going to get tired of it. We didn't win nothing. We lost everything. The guy was garbage. But all of a sudden, Joe Biden's actually winning. So, yeah. And I would love it to be Trump and Biden again in 2024. I would love that.
Well, me too, because I'll tell you what, I am not really a Kamala Harris person. So I pray
I
every
don't think
night.
Kamala, I do not think Kamala can win the presidency. I don't.
I agree
I
with
think
that.
I think that Elizabeth Warren would be the best person set in terms of being the first female president. She is very, very competent, very, very capable. And I think, look, at the end of the day, when I was that guy that was in the race for the presidency, there were people that I was waiting for, that I was excited about. My thoughts were, is I just have to make it to the first debate. Because if I make it to the first debate, I'm going to blow it out of the park, and I may not win, but things are going to change. And I was going to go after the Beto's. I was going to go after Kamala and Cory Booker, because point blank, don't you dare tell me that you're going to fight the opioid epidemic when I can easily go show that you've taken all kinds of money from Big Pharma. Don't you tell me, Beto O'Rourke, that climate change is the biggest problem that we face and we've got to do something about it, when you and Ted Cruz take more money from big energy than any other person in Washington, D.C. You're not going to fight climate change. You're going to daggone make excuses while you can't, so that money continues coming. So look, I'm that guy. I don't care. I'm going to be honest, and I don't care if it causes me to lose. I don't run. Sometimes, I run. I don't never run to lose, but I'm never scared of losing. I don't fear losing. If I have to stand in front of a group of people and tell them what they don't want to hear because it's the truth, then so be it. I'll do it.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Kamala, I don't think she can do it. I agree. Elizabeth Warren, I think there's some other woman out there that may have somewhat of a shot, but you got to have some guts, especially if you're taking on somebody like Trump. Elizabeth Warren, I think, would have made Trump look like a damn fool up there on stage.
Absolutely.
She's smart as a tack. So,
yeah.
Let's move on. So the last few questions are on. So I didn't talk to you about this. I know this is going back to January, but can you talk about January 6th?
A lot of them that are, facing charges right now are waking up, and they're realizing that, this is the guy that aimed us at the Capitol and pulled the trigger, and then 2 hours later was calling us all intruders and telling us that we're going to be prosecuted. Before most of them actually found themselves arrested, when they were waiting on it, they were actually saying, well, we expect a pardon. We think that Donald Trump should pardon us. And Donald Trump didn't pardon nobody. He pardoned all of his crime, bosses, Roger Stone and Manafort and all these other jackaloons, but he never pardoned them. So, there's a lot of people that are angered about that. A lot of people just got caught up in the moment. Some people went there specifically just to, go to the rally, and then happened to just start walking towards the Capitol with everybody else. And when the doors got busted in, they went in as well. And a lot of those are the ones that are being tried now. They're getting home confinement. They're getting fines. And a lot of people are like, oh, this is garbage, man. These people are getting nothing. pump your brakes, Airborne, pump your brakes. Because these are the people that nobody cares about. They were there. They're charged with, disrupting a proceeding, entering government facilities unauthorized. They're getting probation, things like that. We ain't seeing these people that beat the hell out of the cops and bear mace the cops and stab the cops and those things right there. But we're going to. And when we see those, we're going to see significant charges. The guy that had the horns on his head has basically pled guilty and had to basically roll on a bunch of people and had to basically make himself look like a complete jackaloon. And oh, by the way, he's getting 4 years in prison. So, and all he did was walk through the front door and beat his cane on the floor and go, yeah, yeah. That's all he did. He got 4 years. The jackaloon that broke into Nancy Pelosi's office and stole her mail and put his feet on her desk, they've lost everything. They lost their home. They lost their cars. He left his wife and kids in squalor, and he got 7 years. So make no mistake about it. The jackaloon with the hockey stick, he's going to get 60. The knuckleheads that showed up with all the zip ties because they were coming in there to kidnap. They were coming in there to capture. They're going to get 30 and 50 years, and we're going to see that, and their lives are over, and they've lost their Second Amendment rights. They're losing their rights to votes, and I am happy. It makes me happy.
But let me ask you this. Are you worried that because a lot of these guys were in the Oath Keepers, a lot of these militias, a lot of these guys were former military guys. Are you worried about that? Because some of those guys, that was like a mission to them.
What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Let me tell you something. A lot of them are going down, and it's not even over. The leadership of these organizations are finding themselves in a world of hurt. I'm not worried about these people. I don't care. They're garbage. As far as I'm concerned, they're cosplay. They're a bunch of LARPers. They're LARPers. Live action role play. That's what they do. Where were you guys in 2004, 2005 when we were bogged down in Iraq and we needed people? Oh, you didn't want to raise your hand and go fight over there. You want to run around here and you want to carry a rifle to Subway to get a sandwich because you want people to think that you're a badass. But you're not. You're not. Ain't nothing badass about you.
But we need to find out what politicians were giving these people the codes in the building.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to find out these. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, that's the January 6th commission. That's why right now you got Kevin McCarthy, Marjorie Trader Green, Lauren Boebert, and a whole bunch, Gosser, Gohmert, Gates. They're threatening telecom companies and telling them that if they follow through with a legal subpoena, that they're going to pay when the Republicans come back in power. Well, there's a reason why not to vote Republican, people. So that's something you need to remember. But, oh, by the way, guess what? I happen to know quite a few people. I've got friends in high places. They've already got that stuff. They've already got all that information that they have. And the Republicans, Kevin McCarthy and them wasn't even smart enough. They sent their threats to the former CEO of Yahoo, not even the real guy, So, that's what they're doing. That's why they're trying. That's why they don't want this. That's why they're mad right now, because they're scared that this January 6th commission is going to expose all of them. And when they do, and when the average people realize Lauren Boebert was actually sending Nancy Pelosi's whereabouts to the leader of the Oath Keepers, they're going to realize she's going to go down for that. They're going to face justice. And the voters are going to go, wow, wow. They're going to see this, and these people are going to go down. People are going to wake up, and America's going to survive. America's not going to fall to a bunch of uneducated people that can barely read. They can barely read. They don't even know how to research. The only thing they can do is type in F-O-X. They can only do that to hear what they want to hear. They can't do it.
And we'll end with that. Again, Richard Ojeda, thanks so much. Can you just give the viewers, well, first of all, before we even end, are you going to run for office again sometime in the future?
I'm moving to North Carolina. I'm not going to North Carolina to run for office. I'm never going to say no. I'm never going to say never. If I get to North Carolina one of these days and the Democratic Party in North Carolina says we would like for you to support us, that's different. If the unions come out and they say they'll support me in North Carolina, then I'm okay with that. But I'm not going to throw my hat in the ring and get stabbed in the back anymore. I don't need to. I don't have to. You know, I'm retired military. My medical's taken care of. My wife and I will never live under a bridge. I'm a national spokesman. I recently signed a contract with TYT. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. I'm doing all kinds of things. So I'm doing fine. I'm getting ready to, I'm going to be on the Bill Maher show on the 24th of September. You know, I'm starting to do things, you know, all over the place. I'm enjoying my life. I don't need to be a politician. And that's the thing, is that, you know, most people become a politician because they do it because they want the money, they want the power. I don't need that shit. I don't need it. I don't need to be a politician. I would be more happy if there was a competent, capable person that could do that job so that I don't have to. I would much rather enjoy my retirement, travel the world, and do what I do. So, you know, that's where I'm at. But like I said, you know, when I go someplace and I see somebody that claims to be a leader and isn't, I reserve the right to pop them in the nose.
Yeah. Well, I think it's West Virginia's loss that they didn't pick you for the Congress in general. And I think that's a huge loss for them, because I think you would have went in there and kicked ass, even as president, regardless if you won or not. I think if you got to the debates, you would have kicked some ass.
I would have done great things for West Virginia. And I warned West Virginia that if we don't do something, we're going to go down to 2 seats. And we are. And right now, the proposed lines in drawing the redistricting of West Virginia, I told everybody, I said, if we don't have a Democrat in this fight, they're going to draw the lines from north to south. And that's what the plan is right now. It's basically north to south, which means somebody in northern eastern side of West Virginia will win and take half of West Virginia, and somebody in the northwestern side is going to win and take the other half. And neither one of them are going to know anything about southern West Virginia. And that is when the southern West Virginia people are going to finally wake up and realize, damn, that Ojeda guy was telling the truth. And I'm going to be gone. And I'm going to live happily ever after.
All right. So where can people find more about No Dem Left Behind?
Well, they can go to nodemleftbehind.com. They can follow me on Twitter, Ojeda #4 America. They can go to YouTube and they can follow me, and that's my page. It's called Airborne, AIRBORNE. Type in Airborne, then type in Ojeda, and you'll see it's a set of wings with the microphone in the middle. Obviously, you can follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on TikTok, which is just Sapperfy. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitch, Periscope. I'm on everything. So, yeah, come on. Right. I go live every night at 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And I piss people off. So enjoy.
All right. Mr. Ojeda, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it.
All right, my brother. Airborne.